Hersman. Our next poet is Paula Lambert, and Paula has written actually now 2 books of poetry. I'm sure with many others on the way. You get copies of your first book, your chapbook. Your second book is so new, it's still making its way off the presses. And you're going to be reading selections from this forthcoming book, so I'll let you tell us more about that. Paula Lambert.
Thank you. I do have a chapbook available. The first book is a chapbook from Pudding House. It's called The Guilt That Gathers. And because I know college students so well, because I taught composition and creative writing for so long, I have 3 slightly damaged ones. The chapbook is $10, and I have plenty of those, but I have 3 that are slightly damaged, and I'm going to go for 8 if that helps anybody. But I'm going to read today from the new book, which is coming out, I expect June 1st. But I want to read from the book that influenced me very much. This is Amy Newman's book, Fall. Amy she teaches at Northern Illinois University in DeKalb. She was a visiting writer at Bowling Green State University for a while. This is called Fall. This book is structured around the 72 definitions of the word fall in the American Heritage Dictionary. So there's verbs, transitive and intransitive, nouns, and so on. It's a fabulous book. It's one of my favorite collections of poetry ever. But I'm going to read the first poem, which is about falling down. And rather than titles, she has the dictionary definitions at the beginning of the poem. So this is to move under the influence of gravity, especially to drop without restraint. The eyes close and a gilded flesh leaves messages in its spiraling, leaves us astounded at the festive lethargy, at the body's reckless, pliant, beautiful lessening. A shadow of the eye level of things, a shedding of the eye level of things, taking cascade of objects and the dailiness, then the weight of all that blood and flesh, the fully human and bright limbs thinking their way to the pavement, to the grass, to the water at the root of the world. All that thinking I am falling, and the requisite dull hit, and the end of the defining. A body falls like a story, beginning, middle, end. I am watching as she falls, an equation, the Earth's rotation cleaved as if by insects in this tiniest shift of breath, the angle of the downward motion factored in wingbeat against the world's rushing curve. A beautiful woman falls against the scrim, the tiny distance, shoulders almost fold as a neat, clean blouse, ribcage dropped in gentle descent, musical, the decrescendo, her diminution, this whisper added to the world's weight, natural, artful, the body falls. First height, then loss, all the way down. The earth, the only friend to catch you, the hard truth, the helpful ending. That's Amy Newman. I wanted to read this selection first because my own book that's coming out in June is called The Sudden Seduction of Gravity, which is a reference, of course, to falling. I have been quite ill since 2009. I'm recovering now, thank goodness. But the primary symptom of what was going on was that I would fall. Not faint, not pass out, not lose consciousness, but I would just fall to the ground like a ton of bricks. I was misdiagnosed, undiagnosed, re-diagnosed, misdiagnosed any number of times, but misdiagnosed twice with something called postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, or POTS. And orthostatic tachycardia has, in fact, been part of the illness. My book is in 4 parts. The first part is falling down. The second part, falling apart. The third is falling into despair. And the last is called Falling into Place. So this is the poem where the book gets its title, The Sudden Seduction of Gravity. reaching through your soles, traveling up your calves and thighs, your hips, your belly. She seizes your heart, yanking hard, slamming you to your already bruised knees, and still not satisfied, pulls your face to the ground until, open-mouthed, you've kissed the earth and her. Shortly. The second one is called tachycardia. One of the symptoms I said that, in fact, I've been dealing with this today, so if you see me shaking, it's not nerves. I'm so happy to be here. But my heart today has been pounded. It's called tachycardia. The origin from the Greek tachus, meaning swift, and cardia, meaning heart. It's from the compact Oxford English Dictionary. A swift heart can cut you at the knees, take you down, leave you for dead. An angry lover doesn't forget and won't forgive, lashes out just to see you fall, feels your skin scrape hard across the concrete, one more part of you stuck, laid out to the bitter sun, desiccated, martyred in the solidity of sand. But you get up, try again, fall down, try again, sit down, fall out of your chair, think. The first time a heart beats fast, 12 years old and blushing with promise, the world opens, a chasm of all that is possible, and the flutter in your chest is whispered prayers to gods you don't believe in now. When did that beating heart begin to understand betrayal? When did it start to see? When did it discover the need to protect itself, to hold itself back, to call itself tender and afraid? And when it turned on you, did you know? Drums speak, signal need, ask for help. Didn't you hear it calling? Didn't you hear it? What was left for it then but to shatter your life, to bring you to those sacred knees, to make you pay for all that you left undone? The second section of the book, like I said, is called Falling Apart. And that's all of the anxiety, what's going on, not being able to figure it out, being told umpteen times that the problem was psychiatric. And it was not. I finally been diagnosed, by the way, recently with a fabulous, great doctor. It's a really complicated hormonal issue, including adrenal glands, thyroid. It's a complicated mess of body chemistry. But this is from the second section. It's called The Hypochondriac's Question to the Woman with Synesthesia. Do we know what synesthesia is? It's a syndrome where your five senses kind of cross. You might smell colors or taste words. It's a wonderful disease for a poet to write poems about. But the hypochondriac's question to the woman with synesthesia. If 7 is blue, what's dark blue, indigo, navy? Is 6.5 a cloud-filled sky? The pain in my side is an empty house. There's nobody home. The pain is here, on my left. My rib cage is a bird cage. There's a sparrow inside. The doctor doesn't understand. I thought you might. I heard you say your doorbell smells like bacon. Mine smells like a wound. It doesn't ring very often. It smells like undressing, not taking off your clothes, like lifting a bandage, like stagnation and healing at the same time. If 7 is blue, what's dark blue, indigo, melancholy? Sometimes what smells sweet is so sweet I can feel the sticky on my fingers. Sometimes burnt toast makes me cry. The doctor doesn't understand. The nurse just purses her lips. I thought it seemed like maybe you'd understand. The pain in my chest is a bird cage. There's a sparrow inside. When we were children, we were taught to shoot sparrows in the barn. It was how we brought down flight. A barn is a big empty house. There's nobody home but the sparrow inside. I wondered, could you tell me, if the number 7 is blue, how do you calculate sky? This, I think, is from the third section, falling into despair. despair. This is dedicated to, it says for Angelique and for Scott. Scott is Scott Woods. He's a Columbus Pullman, awesome guy, president of Poetry Slam Incorporated. He's fabulous. And every Wednesday, Epic Hair Whack, get yourself over there. It's a great place. And for Angelique, she is Angelique Palmer. She's a poet from Virginia, also a slam poet. Most people are taught to stay away from salt because it raises your blood pressure. I, during this, actually had to eat salt. I had to take it by the teaspoon 3 times a day to raise my blood pressure. So this is called Your Words, Salt in My Wounds. I eat salt now, 3 spoonfuls a day. Helps the pressure rise, keeps me from making love to the floor. It's angry sex. I writhe, I scream, I feel myself die. Salt is a salve, balm for the burn, and I'm so tired of burning these flames with me all my life. Is there a difference between breathing and burning? What's left of me charred, no meat, no bone, nothing to suck the juices of sunshine and rain, nothing left but what rain washes away. No greasy stain, but your words and mine and yours, to remind the world that we poets prayed before we were lost. And this is called aphasia. This was probably the most terrifying part of my being sick. This happened twice. Once in the first year, 2009, and then this past winter. And this past winter was really, really bad. Aphasia is when you sort of know a word, but you can't say it. Like with a pencil, I could hold a pencil in my hand and know what it is, but I couldn't say the word pencil. I could say, you write with it, it's made of wood, and someone else would say pencil, and I'd say, oh yeah, right, pencil. So this is called aphasia, and this is from the last section, I think, falling into place, when things start falling into place. Aphasia. It can be good to let things go. A word, a name, a feeling, a past. What we've grown accustomed to thinking are the things that make us, us. We are a larger body than this one. What we inhabit is limitless. Think beyond the surface of your skin, beyond the surface of anything. All borders are falsities, figments of our agreed-upon imagination. Maps are redrawn constantly, solar systems redesigned. We are constantly learning what we thought we knew. We don't like it. But if there's no beginning and no end, and there's not, then again is a word that doesn't exist. Nor this one, nor any of these. Not this poem, not this present, not this time. And this is the final poem I'll read. It's actually the second to the last poem in the book. This is when the body basks in its own inertia. When you're tired and there's no reason for it, you've slept, you've eaten well, you've no errands left to run, the body begins to bask in its own inertia, and the mind forgets. Time drips like honey, slow and sweet. You can't remember what happened yesterday, that thing that had you so upset, and the list of things you had to get done today, what made them so urgent? Anger, anxiety, they beg themselves off, needing their own reprieve. And that's what you have left. A heart that beats at its own pace, and blood unaccompanied by adrenaline or drugs it doesn't need, exploring what it seems now as the exquisite confines of your body. It takes its time. You must do the same. Focus now on a clean sheet of paper and the scent of a new poem. Breathe deep. Begin. Thank you very much.